What'd you think of the Ahmed Rosario and Ryan McMahon move?
Good. What I've been saying is like a move looks better with another move. So you get Ryan McMahon, it's like, all right, some people wanted Eugenio Suarez, but then when you add Ahmed Rosario, it's like, okay, now you've added two veterans, you've added guys that are pluses when you look at, who we were dealing with earlier in the season as far as like Pablo Reyes, even Yorbit Vivas and Oswald Peraza. These are guys that I think are going to help the clubhouse. These are guys that I think are going to, hit better than people are expecting them to as well. But, saying a move looks good with another move, pitching. I would like another starter. I would like another left-handed reliever, some other reliever. And since they didn't give up too much to get those guys, like the price was right. That's what I've been saying as well. The only name that we really know is Clayton Beater. The other guys that they gave up, we're not going to miss them. So that means the higher level prospects that you could move can be used to get high leverage relievers or another starter. And I expect Cashman to make a big move coming up here by the end of the deadline on Thursday.
Keith, where are you at with the Yankees team right now? After another loss last night, they've fallen to 15-24 since June 13th. What would you say your level of concern is right now with this team?
Maybe a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's pretty high because they suck right now. Like all the men lie, women lie, numbers don't. All the numbers tell you that they are closer to the Rockies and the White Sox than they are to the Cubs, the Brewers, the best teams in baseball. But also that's right now. Like
Yep.
I was saying on my show last night, I'll tell you when to get off the roller coaster. I know when the team is cooked. I know when it's time. You don't get off the roller coaster before the trade deadline. There's too many good players on this team. People are worried about Aaron Judge's injury. And the way I'm countering that, I'm like, okay, is Judge a dominant postseason performer? No, they have enough to survive right now. They're the top wild card right now. And stack the deck as if Judge isn't going to perform in October again. And if he does, great. But I look at the American League as like, okay, the Toronto Blue Jays have got the best of us. The Astros historically have gotten the best of us. I don't see the Tigers coming out of Central and beating us. It's still pretty much wide open. Like I think if they are healthy and they add a couple more talented arms to this team and Judge is able to come back and eventually, hit and then throw, just get in the dance. Maybe it's got to be a different route. Maybe it's not just win the American League, win the American League East, have the number one seed, have the bye. Maybe you got to earn it. Maybe you got to struggle a little bit. This adversity is hit, and it's going to test this team, and we're going to see what they're made of. Are they made of what Aaron Boone tells us every night? That they're a good ball club and they're elite and it's right in front of us and they're going to get it done and they know they got to win? Or are they soft? Like they also seem to be a country club, participation trophy era Yankees. We're about to find out. But as of July 29th, you don't quit on the team on July 29th. What I think is happening here is just, let the hype die down and we'll see which way this thing goes.
Yeah, I think that's really well put. The people calling for them to sell. If Judge is hurt, that's one thing. Maybe you do a soft buy, you get controllable guys. But, people ignore the fact that this is still one of the better offenses that we've seen in recent years. And, if they reinforce the bullpen, you got Fried and Rodon, who I think you're really confident with on a playoff mound. We'll see what Heel can give you. Like the team can come together. So I think that was a great point. But resilience is a big thing, and it's just something that the Yankees seem to do or haven't done every summer. They just go in this funk. Do you think there's anything to that? Is it just
Yeah.
it gets hot and
No, it's Aaron Boone. I mean, and people are calling for his job. It's Aaron Boone. We've lived it all of these years. It is the messaging, and I don't care what they supposedly say behind closed doors. The public messaging is always, "We're all right. This is good. This is fine." And on top of the public messaging, you do stupid ass things like play guys out of position. You do stupid things like let guys continue to struggle without sitting them down. You do stupid things like if a guy like Yorbit Vivas, a whole rookie trying to make his way, doesn't slide and gets thrown out by Ronald Acuna Jr. in a most like ridiculous way, he's allowed to stay in the game. We all know his ass should have been pulled. He should have been benched. That's a perfect time to set an example. The first game coming out of the All-Star break. So yeah, we're not dumb. We watch these games. We've watched the team for years. This is the Aaron Boone era of the Yankees, the Aaron Judge era of the Yankees. And Brian Cashman is at fault too because of roster construction. Every year we run into these issues that we're running into right now. Whether it was Verdugo playing last year or Rizzo playing last year or DJ playing this year or Stanton, and obviously Stanton is a postseason hero and he's supposed to be above the criticism, but now you have a situation with him where you want to put him back in the outfield. You want him to play right field. You want him to risk injury. Then you're going to have two guys on the IL. It's stupid, man. There's a lot of things that could be avoided. Why do you have three left-handed catchers? You have three left-handed catchers, and
Yep.
like one of them barely has caught in the major leagues. The other
Yeah.
one was out of Major League Baseball driving Uber, being a substitute teacher. Austin Wells is still unproven. Like there's always something where they don't go all the way. Third base, now you got to go get Ryan McMahon, but you should have addressed that. You didn't want to address it because you said, "Oh, Cabrera's good enough." No, Cabrera's a utility player. He plays multiple positions. He's not supposed to be a starter. He's supposed to come off the bench.
Yeah.
And Peraza is a quadruple A player. DJ LeMayu is cooked, but you tell us, "Oh no, we're good, we're good." No, if you're trying to be good enough to win the World Series, that's not good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like another thing too, and I was telling Christian this the other day, like I like the Ahmed Rosario deal. I think it's a good deal, but the Yankees could have went out this offseason and signed Ahmed Rosario to play third base. They wouldn't have to given up prospects, anything like that. He's only making like I think like $2 million, something like that. So I feel like it is confusing. I think like the Yankees, they're almost stagnant. They kind of like live in this world that everything's okay. But Keith, if you look at the standings, like they're barely holding on to a playoff spot. I think they hold the wild card by like a game. They hold the top spot by a half game. Like things need to start turning because, if you go, another 6 weeks or even what they've had another 2 weeks of playing this brand of baseball, you're going to be chasing up. And I think the conversations are going to get even more difficult. I think another thing that's been trending that I find interesting is the Yankees being linked to Harrison Bader. I think he makes sense as a bat. He obviously plays the outfield really well, but with how crowded the outfield is, how do you think that worked? Would you think the Yankees need to trade a player like Grisham to bring Bader in? Because I don't see how that could happen.
I would assume Grisham is on the trade block. I would assume Dominguez as well, that they're shopping those guys, that those guys' names have come up in conversation. Harrison Bader is from Bronxville. Harrison Bader is postseason proven. How could we forget what he did with his bat back in 2022? I mean, I'd be fine with it, especially if it's an insurance plan for Judge not being able to play in the outfield. But yeah, it's funny, man. Like for the Yankees to even double back and go get that guy again, it's like people are saying the Yankees are always the last to know. No, they're not the last to know. They're the last to admit. They're the last to admit that they're mid. They're the last to admit their own faults. They're the last to admit their own mistakes and their decisions and what they've done. They lack accountability. They want to just go through the motions and act like they're the core four dynasty of the past, act like they're the late 70s Yankees, or even all of these championships from 1923 to 30. Like that, those days are gone. We are in a different Major League Baseball now, completely different game, completely different atmosphere. And then they don't want to spend. They spend enough, but they put a salary cap on themselves. They say that they don't need to spend more to have a good team. No, you do, because like you wanted to go homegrown talent. Look at Anthony Volpe. You wanted to go homegrown talent. Look at Austin Wells. You wanted to go homegrown talent, and like not for nothing, you've come up short in so many places. The team that beat you in the World Series, they don't have too many homegrown guys. They go out and spend, and the return on investment that they get is plentiful. They print money coming out of Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, the number one attendance. They sell everything you can think of with World Series champions 2024 on it. If the Yankees just actually cut all the BS and did what it took to actually fill out the roster with plus players, with good players and depth, they could do it. They could win. They have all the resources. They have the fan base. They have the stadium. They have the best player in the game. But they always want to cut corners. They always want to take shortcuts. And then they end up coming up short.
Martino said the Yankees were in the early stages of exploring guys like Bellinger and Goldschmidt, but if Judge had needed season ending surgery, they likely would have shifted to sell mode. Would you have agreed with that if Judge was down? I know it's kind of a mute point now, but do you think the Yankees, would have went out and sold? And would you agree with that?
So the thought is always you don't sell in the Judge era. Judge is 33 in this Judge era. You don't sell because Judge is in his prime. You don't know how long. But like I just said, when has Judge dominated the postseason? We're still waiting on that. So I would move with all of the history that I have and assume that Judge is going to be mid or less of what he is because he's been less. He's been like almost half the player that he is in October. And I would push forward with these other guys. I wouldn't trade Cody Bellinger. He looks like the best player on the team outside of Judge. Now Paul Goldschmidt, yeah, Paul Goldschmidt. I don't know. It's kind of worn off for me with Goldie. I think in the beginning of the season he looked good, but he's got no power. He's got no pop. And now he's even having some issues at first base. He's old, man. Father Time is undefeated. It's a long ass season. I would shop him because then you could put Ben Rice there. Oh, you also have Cody Bellinger who could play there. And if you're going to make a move to get a Harrison Bader and you're going to keep Trent Grisham, you know what I'm saying? Like there's some options. Ahmed Rosario can play out in right field like he did last night. Like I don't know, man. I'm not so stuck on Aaron Judge because as great as Judge is, he is not himself in October, and that's all we care about. Championships is all we care about. What people do in the postseason is all we care about, and that's all the Yankees care about, right? Because people want to talk about the Yankees' business and their money. When do they make the most money? They made $110 million through the month of October last year, going to the World Series and hosting all three of their games. Now, imagine this year they enter as a wild card, and let's say they host 3 games in the wild card and then run to the World Series. They get 3 extra games. They're
Yeah.
thinking about that. They're always thinking about how they can add more money, how they can make more money, how they can host more games and turn a profit. They are the most profitable team in baseball. So it ain't all about Aaron Judge. But I would leave no stone unturned. Everyone's available at this point. You're no good. You're 11-19 against the AL East. You're not that great. You have a losing record in July. You go from the June Boone swoon to July you cry. So you're in a
July.
situation where nobody's off limits, bro. Stop acting like you're the Yankees cream of the crop, like you're better than everybody. The league has closed the gap on you. So start moving like some of these teams that are in the middle of the pack.
So, we were talking about Harrison Bader earlier, and yeah, that makes sense. He had a great postseason with the Yankees. But the fact that there's even talks, and who knows if this is just noise, the New York media being the New York media, but, Andrew Heaney is in trade discussions to the New York Yankees. And then even if you want to go to a guy like Caleb Ferguson, both those guys, a negative .5 and a negative .6 WAR with the Yankees. And there's talks of bringing them back. Like that is the mixed messaging that kind of drives fans insane.
I hope it's just rumor. I hope it's just Yankees for clicks. I hope it's nonsense. No more second tours, man. What happened in your second tour with Tommy Kahnle last year? When you needed him the most, he walked the ballpark.
Mm,
Andrew Heaney was a pain in our ass a couple
so
years
bad.
back. He was terrible, bro. Like, and they just kept forcing him out there. They kept running him out there. And Caleb Ferguson is another guy. It did not work. Do better. Add difference makers. Like, I don't know if you guys watch hockey, but I got into puck in the last couple years being on the fan. And Brad Marchand from the Boston Bruins, when the Florida Panthers made that trade to add the Bruins captain, I'm like, yo, they just added a difference maker. Then when you watch the Stanley Cup, when you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, this guy stands out as the difference between why the Panthers are going to go back to back because they added a legit difference maker. Don't add these marginal, maybe do something, like add people that are going to affect the game in a positive way. Why waste assets on somebody that might be good one day, might be trash the other
Yep.
day?
Yeah. Two of the biggest weaknesses this year for the Yankees, right, have been the bullpen and the rotation. It seems like now the wheels are falling off on both. They really can't get anything. Fried's blister has been a bit of an issue, so he's taking a little bit of a step back. Rodon as well. The rest of the rotation, I don't know what you're going to get. And the bullpen is just a complete and utter disaster. Which do you think the Yankees need to address the most, the bullpen or the starting rotation?
The bullpen, the bullpen, the bullpen, the bullpen. Tim Hill is the most used reliever in the game. Like Luke Weaver can't be Luke Weaver because they moved him from closer last year to setup guy to closer to back to setup guy. And they always try to get him in there for more than a couple outs, have him do multiple innings, whatever. Like these guys need somebody else that can give them a break, a reset. The Yes Network is always posting that bullpen budget, and I dread it. I dread how they're going to play it. I dread how they're going to put a pitch count on a guy. I dread how they're going to just fold it sometimes and say, okay, here's Scott F. Ross. You go out there. I know he's not with the team anymore. JT Brubaker is another guy that's like at the back of the bullpen. No need for him, man. Get these guys up out of here, bro. Alan Winans, get these guys up out of here. The Yankees and Brian Cashman always could hang their hat on one thing, and that was the bullpen. It didn't matter who was coming out of bullpen for years. They were getting outs. They need to repair this bullpen, and that is what's available. When you look around at this trade deadline, like they're not going after Suarez, and Suarez wore one off his hand again last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going after go after the best relievers, the Ryan Helsleys, the David Bednars, the Yohan Durans, the Griffin Jacks, even Jake Bird. Go after Emmanuel Clase screwed up. He's not on the table anymore, but even Cade Smith, man, go after these guys that are going to get you those outs in October because you need it. Whenever we watch postseason baseball, somebody's coming off the mound yelling and screaming after they got 3 big outs. And like those outs are the outs that change games. Go get those guys. That is the most important thing right now. You've already checked off third base, utility, 2 veterans that you gave up nothing for. Okay, if you're prospect hugging the guys that are in the top of the organization, use them to go get the best relievers you can get.
Yeah. I don't know if this is too much of a generalization that I'm about to make, but when you're talking about guys that you need coming off the mound, fired up, and then I go back to the stat of Cam Schlittler, who's thrown like the 20 fastest pitches by a Yankee all season, they really are missing that guy that you would throw out, on a postseason mound, and you'd kind of trust to have that electric stuff. Whether it's a starter or a bullpen arm. We don't have Cole this year. They don't really have any high velocity guys in that bullpen, so it's a lot of relying on guys with movement or sinkers, getting a ground ball, where sometimes the moment, especially in the postseason, can just get too big with that atmosphere. You need a little bit of power to get hitters out. Do you agree with that, or do you think that's too much of a generalization?
Are you saying, do I agree with them potentially moving Cam Schlittler to the bullpen, or are you saying that they don't have anybody
that
like
they need high velo guys, or do you think that doesn't matter in a bullpen?
No, yeah, it helps. It certainly helps late in the game when a guy's 4th at bat. He's facing 99, 100 and getting mowed down, definitely.
We've heard the Yankees, linked to Castro from the Twins as a potential backup shortstop. Would you be into that? Do you think the Yankees need to go out and get some insurance for Anthony Volpe? Obviously, the last night was really brutal. I think he got booed for the first time in the Bronx. So would you like a backup option at shortstop?
Yeah, it wasn't the first time. I actually have a video on WFAN right now where I'm like, I don't understand, y'all. The boos were loud last night. It was because he had back-to-back strikeouts and then a play in the infield with Caballero. He wasn't going to make that play, but even Boone said it in the postgame, he's got to trap that ball. He's got to keep that ball in the infield. It just looks bad. His mechanics are bad. You can see how he's fielding the ball, how he's dropping to a knee, he's not confident out there. But anyway, Willie Castro. Fun fact about Willie Castro as I was putting my notes together yesterday. Willie Castro is married to Ahmed Rosario's sister. I don't think they're going to be teammates. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be teammates. I think if you want somebody to back up Volpe to be that role, that's Ahmed Rosario. He came up as a shortstop. How much worse can he be than Volpe right now? I don't think he could be worse than Volpe right now. The only good thing we're getting out of Volpe is, he had 4 home runs. He had 2 home runs against the Braves. He had a home run against Toronto. He had a home run against the Phillies on Friday on his bobblehead night. Other than that, he's striking out and he's committing errors. He's leading the league in errors. I don't understand them going out. And I know there's rumors still that they're interested in Willie Castro. But Willie Castro, to me, would have been the Ahmed Rosario move. How many infielders do you need? How many utility guys do you need? I wouldn't give up any assets to go get Willie Castro at this point.
Keith, I got one more question for you here. A wild card series. What do we need? 3 pitchers. But if we do go far in the postseason, which is the goal, who is our four? Who is our 4 guys that you think will be starting games?
Max Fried, Carlos Rodon,
Gets tricky
Luis
after
Gil,
that. Yeah.
Luis Gil, and whoever they get at the deadline. Because I do not trust Will Warren. Will Warren has struggled against teams like the Dodgers and the Mets, and I'm forgetting another National League team with good hitters. He's struggled against he's struggled in the first inning against some of these good teams. You do not want to throw Marcus Stroman.
Oh boy. No, you do not.
Yeah. So, and Cam Slittler's another whole rookie that you can't put into the fire. It's Fried, Rodon, Heel, and then whoever they get at this this trade
Yarbrough?
deadline.
Would you trust him?
Maybe Yarbrough coming back. But it depends. If they can't get a starter at the deadline, go get me Zach Gallen, man. Go get not even I don't know. Go get a starter at the deadline. I don't think they're gonna get Sandy Alcantara. I don't know who else is available. Merrill Kelly, that doesn't get anybody pumped up.
No.
Yeah, it's Fried, Rodon, Heel, and then whoever they get at the deadline. Because you can't throw Will Warren, you can't throw Cam Schlittler. They're too young. It's too big of a stage. And then Marcus Stroman is cooked. He shouldn't even be on the team at this point. No disrespect to the homie, but you guys know, they were trying to trade him in the offseason. Most Yankee fans thought he wasn't going to have a spot on the team.
No, it's a weird situation. It's kind of like DJ LeMahieu. You know nothing's going to change. It hasn't been good. It's just, are they going to pull the trigger, or are they going to let him?
It's very similar to DJ LeMahieu. DJ hit some home runs. DJ had some hits, but he couldn't field the position. Stroman has had some decent outings. That outing he had against the Braves surprised me, but his last outing against the Phillies, it's come on, bro. This guy he nibbles around the corners. He has no velocity at all. He walks guys because he can't, he can't just blow it by anybody. He can't put it in the zone or it's going to get rocked. He gives up home runs when he puts it in the zone, and then he walks guys when he gets afraid to do that. That's not someone you can put in the postseason.
Yeah, zero put away pitch with him, especially you face a really good lineup. They'll tee off, just seeing his pitches. So, yeah, I don't think Stroman would be a good idea, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do. Trade deadline's Thursday at 6 p.m. So we'll see if the Yankees make a bunch of moves. Maybe they go half in, all in. Who knows? Cashman said all in. So we'll see if that stands to be true. But, big thank you, Keith, for coming on. We really appreciate it. And, man, hopefully the Yankees start playing better because we really need that.
Yeah, maybe this is a choose your own adventure book where we choose an adventure that this team drops to the third wild card, but they add at the deadline and they come together and they get right at the right time. What I will say is their September schedule is soft, and if they're able to right the ship through August and have a winning month of August, September shouldn't be too tough. So don't get off the ride yet. Don't quit on the team. Baseball is unpredictable. Nobody can predict baseball. They've got enough talented hitters. They just got to get the right mentality, and Cashman has to add the right pieces for this run.
Yeah, let's do it, Cashman. Thank you so much, Keith. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.